morning children. In our previous class we discussed about reproduction in plants and how it reproduces, what are the reproductive organs of a male female pot and female pot reproductive organ and male reproductive organ, how it fertilization, pollination takes place, what are the agents which carries the pollination, everything we discussed. Now let us start the new topic, reproduction of plants which occur usually plant vegetative part of other than that flower is also a sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, the most interesting thing in the plant is baby plant can grow even without formation of a seed, that is without sexual reproduction. Let us study some of such process. Vegetative reproduction, production of a new plants from vegetative parts of a plant, root, stem and leaf is known as vegetative reproduction. Do you know how farmers produce potatoes in their fields? If you don't know, now let us study about that. Do you know how farmers produce potatoes? Take a potato and observe it has a small number of depressions on its surface. They are known as eyes. Cut the potato into pieces such that there is an eye in each piece. Remove the eye from some of these pieces. Fill into 2 cups with soil. Plant the piece with the eye in 1 cup and label the cup with eyes, and those without eyes in another cup named as without eyes. Water both the cups daily and observe what happens. In which cup do potato plants sprout? Is a picture of a plant called bryophyllum. You can see a baby plant on the edge of a leaves. Can we see the bryophyllum plant reproduce through its leaves? Yes. In our garden we grow plants like rose, hibiscus and jasmine by cutting small branches and planting them into the soil. Which other plants also grow from its cutting? Name of such plants. Reproduction, vegetative reproduction in some plants. Sweet potato, dahlia, carrot, turnip, radish. New plants grow from the modified root. Potato, new plant grown from the eyes in the tuber which is modified stem. Onion, garlic, tuberose, lilies, goldioli, new plants grown from the bulbs of corns. Bryophyllum, new plant grows from the buds on the leaf. Sugarcane, stem grows roots at the nodes. Mint, strawberry, chrysanthemum, raspberry, stem creeps along the ground and strikes roots at the nodes. These are the different ways of a reproduction in plants. And asexual reproduction without seed. Budding, the jalebi maker adds something to the jalebi mix and leaves it for some time. It helps him make a good jalebi. What he mixes is a type of plant called yeast. Yeast grows with the help of small bulb-like outgrowth which increases in size and breaks off from the parent plant to live independently. This process of reproduction is called budding. Spore formation. Take a slice of a bread, cover it with a vessel and leave it undisturbed for 2 to 3 days. Thereafter, you will find the slice covered with a grey colored fungus called bread mold. With a grey colored fungus called bread mold, and let it stand for 3 to 4 days. The whole growth appears like a black powder, like a matter. Transfer the powder within the stick on a fresh slice of a moist bread. Observe what happens after every day and note your observation. The black powder portion of bread mold contains several spots. Do you know Alexander Fleming, a Scottish scientist, discovered the certain kind of molds, penicillium, produces a substance called penicillin which can destroy many kinds of disease causing bacteria. Penicillin came to be known as an antibiotic and saved the lives of many soldiers in Second World War. Reproduction is a sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, what are the things to be needed, Amma? Male part, female part. If both are combined, it forms a zygote. Zygote leads to get seed, and seed will give the new plant. In asexual reproduction, we'll have the bud. Bud will give the new plant. Spores, new plant. Vegetative parts, root, stem, and leaf. This also gives the new plant. This is known as a asexual reproduction. Reproduction in plants have two types: sexual reproduction, asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, their male and female parts should combine to form a zygote, and zygote is converts into seed, and seed will give the new plant. In asexual reproduction, again three types: bud, spores, and vegetative parts. Bud will give a new plant, spores will give a new plant, vegetative parts, root, stem, leaf also act as a vegetative reproduction, and that is known as a asexual reproduction. Without seed, we can grow budding, spores, vegetative parts. Okay. Now comes to production of a offspring. With this, we completed our lesson. What we discussed in cutting, androecium, gynoecium, thalamus, corolla, stamen, pistil, anther, filament, budding, zygote, vegetative propagation, spore, pollination, fertilization. Let us discuss what we have discussed. Let us see in the form of a summary. Here, flower consists of four parts: sepal, petal, stamen, pistil. What are the main parts of a flower? Remaining all parts you have discussed in your 6th standard. In 7th standard, you are going to learn a reproduction in plants. And what are the other part you left which you did not discuss in 6th? That is a flower. Flower plays a great role in reproduction. And flower consisting of four parts: the sepals, petals, stamens, pistil. Based on the presence and absence of floral parts, flowers are two types: complete flower, incomplete flower. And based on the presence of both are single sexual flowers are two types: bisexual, unisexual. Flowers based on presence of floral parts, it is a complete flower, incomplete flower. And based on the sexual parts, that is a bisexual means will have the two, unisexual means only the male or female present. Transfer of pollen grains from anther to sigma is known as pollination. Flowers can be self-pollinated or a cross-pollination. It can be self-pollination or a cross-pollination. Fusion of male and female pods to form a zygote. This process is known as a fertilizer. Fusion, combining of male and female pods to form a zygote. This process is known as fertilization. And transfer of pollen grains from anther to sigma is known as pollination. On the basis of parts involved reproduction in plants, there is two types: sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, where male and female gametes both they join and form a new one, that is said to be a male. And a female reproduction will have, that is asexual reproduction. Asexual, budding, spores, vegetative parts, all these terms into new plant, and new plant. This product is known as asexual production. Production of offspring from zygote is called sexual production. Formation of new plant without sexual production is called asexual reproduction. Okay, all this we have discussed in our 7th standard in the form of reproduction in plants. And let me talk about your notes. I have to give the notes of 3 lessons. Now we completed our lesson, so definitely in the next class I am going to give the classwork of 3 lessons. Before that, try to complete remaining up to the 11th lesson, remaining lessons classwork. Okay children, so what we have discussed in that, the flower also plays a great role in reproduction, and flower will have the two, that is some plants will have the 2 types of flowers. They will consisting of male gametes and a female. That male is will consisting of a stamen and females are a petals. Pistil, if they have the stamens and pistils, then reproduction takes place. And some flowers will have only one type of a gamete. It is See here you can see the types of a stamens. They are the male reproductive part, and it is a types of a pistil. It is a female reproductive part. Stigma, anther, stamen, style, sepals, petals, ovary, stalk. All these are the parts of a floral part. Floral flower. Okay, and flower will have the four parts. They are the sepals, petals, stamen, and pistil. And in bottle gourd and cucumber, if we see carefully, they help to give a figure below the what difference you find. Do you know other plants which have separate male and female flowers? Give examples. What do you see in sunflower? Looks like a single flower, but it is actually bunch of flowers. The small flowers in the bunch are called florets. The florets in the center is called a flower disc. Bisexual flower. A flower that has both stamens and pistil is said to be bisexual flowers. Means male reproductive part and female reproductive part. Then they are said to be a bisexual flower, and example is Datura hibiscus. And unisexual flowers are nothing but will have only one part, then it is said to be unisexual. Flower that has four or more whorls, at least one of them, calyx, sepals, petals, stamens, pistilla, it is said to be a complete flower. If one of them it is absent, that is said to be incomplete flower. And the sexual flowers of a flower, now take a stamen from the China rose, tap the stamen gently and a slide, add 1 drop of water, observe under a microscope. You will observe different colors and the different sizes. And the same manner you take a flower and the pistil also you observe, you will get the different. Flower part to fruit. The flowers only it is converted into the fruits. Agent that helps to ovary of a flower to develop into fruits. These are the birds and some wind, air. All these are the different types of a transfer of pollen grains from anther to sigma is known as a pollination. What are the agents here? Air, water, insects, birds. All these are the agents to do the pollination. And birds and insects are the natural agents for pollination. Nowadays, farmers use pesticides to control the pest or to kill the insects. It affects pollination. Crop yielding become reduced, particularly in sunflower crop. The rate of pollination is reduced because of the lack of insect in the fields. Think how it destroys our beautiful nature. Okay. What is a fertilization? What is a fertilization? Fusion of male and female reproductive parts is known as, forms a zygote, and this process is known as fertilization, and the zygote will give the seed and seed will give the new plant. Okay. Now comes to the sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction will have the male and female reproductive parts. In asexual reproduction, vegetative reproduction will have the from the edges bud and root, new plant. All this will come across from the birds, from the new plants, from the roots. All these are the budding, spore and vegetative reproduction. With this we completed our lesson. Okay children, thank you.